Hey, Dan here, and welcome to Fun Kids Science Weekly Reach for the Sky Special, the podcast that explores the future of aviation from the design and sustainability of future planes to the people who keep them flying and make sure our experience is top-notch. In today's episode, we're in Bristol, exploring Aerospace Bristol and finding out all about this city's amazing aviation history. You can hear all about a plane that went faster than the speed of sound and how aircrafts managed to stay in the air. First up, let's catch up with Amy. Today, she's further north than Bristol, in Hull, finding out about another Amy, Amy Johnson, the world's most famous woman pilot.
Amy Aviation's British Aeronautics.
There are loads of places around the UK which are associated with Britain's aerospace industry. Some of them might be near to where you live. Let's spin the propeller and see where we're headed today. We're off to Kingston upon Hull. Let's get ready for takeoff. Kingston upon Hull is in the north of the UK. It's a big city in an area called the East Riding of Yorkshire. Now, whilst Hull has its own airport, that's not why we're here. Hull was home to an amazing pilot, and she was another Amy, Amy Johnson. Amy Johnson was born in 1903, the very early days of aviation. By the time she was 26, she'd not only got her pilot's licence, but an engineer's licence too. And just 2 years later, in 1930, she undertook an enormous journey. A solo flight from the UK all the way to Australia. It was the first time that a woman had made a solo flight of that length. It took her 19 days. At the end of her journey, she was exhausted, sick from the fumes of petrol, and burned and blistered from the sun. But she'd done it. An incredible achievement. And even to this day, no other woman has made the journey solo. Her adventures didn't stop there. In the Second World War, Amy joined the Air Transport Auxiliary, whose job was to transport RAF aircraft around the country. Sadly, she went missing after her plane crashed in the Thames when she was only 37. She never forgot Hull, and to reward children who had been especially brave, she set up an award called the Amy Johnson Cup of Courage. It's still awarded today to children who have performed acts of bravery. Hull's got a lot to be proud about. I wonder what we'll discover next. Catch me then.
Amy Aviation's British Aeronautics, with support from the Royal Aeronautical Society. Find out more at funkidslive.com/Amy.
Thanks, Amy. In fact, thanks, Amy's. What an incredible woman. Now this week, we're in Bristol, at Aerospace Bristol, a museum located in Filton. It celebrates the history of the Bristol area aerospace industry from the early 1900s to today. Its centrepiece is the Concorde 216, the last Concorde ever to fly, housed in an enormous purpose-built hangar. You can go inside, you can see the fancy seats and stare at all the dials that a pilot would need to twiddle to get the thing flying. So buckle up, mission control, because we're going on a wild ride. Now, this city has spent more than a century building things that go zoom and sometimes boom too. Honestly, if it flies, glides, floats, hovers, screeches through the sky, or even pops out of the atmosphere completely, chances are someone in Bristol helped build or fix it. Let's start with the legend, Concorde, the fastest passenger plane ever. Imagine this, you eat your breakfast in London, you jump on Concorde, and you're in New York in time for, well, more breakfast. You've actually gone back in time, thanks to time zones. It went at twice the speed of sound. That's Mach 2, if you want the fancy term. It's over 1,300 miles an hour, faster than a speeding bullet, way faster than your mum's car. A plane today might take 6 or 7 hours to get from London to New York City in the United States. On Concorde, it would take just over 3 hours. And guess where every single British Concorde was put together? Yeah, we're there. You're right, in Bristol. Concorde was just one chapter in Bristol's aviation history. The story started back in 1910, just a couple of years after the first experimental aircraft took to the skies. A man called Sir George White decided he wanted to build aeroplanes. He created the British and Colonial Aeroplane Company, and he set it up in 2 sheds on top of Filton Hill, actual sheds with doors and creaky hinges. And from those sheds came the Bristol box kite biplane, which was like a flying picnic bench with wings and a motor. Well, it worked, and people were amazed, and suddenly Filton became the first proper commercial aeroplane factory in Britain. Then fast forward a few years to World War I, when business exploded. The Bristol fighter became the star of the skies, a bit like the Spitfire would later be in the Second World War. By 1920, they renamed themselves the British Aeroplane Company, and they just kept cracking out the hits. The British Bulldog in 1927, then the mighty Bristol Blenheim Bomber in 36. And over time, they converted old military planes into passenger ones. There was the Tourer, which was a Bristol fighter with an extra seat, and the gigantic Bristol Pullman that carried 14 people in luxury. There was even a plane which could carry cars and cows. Not at the same time, hopefully. All this was going on, all these amazing planes were being built from one city, and there was a dream, a big dream, to build a plane faster than the speed of sound. In 1969, the first Concorde took off. By 1979, the last one was built, and they would fly for another 24 years. Bristol had become famous around the world for breaking the sound barrier while serving food and drink at 60,000 feet. Today, Bristol is packed with aerospace companies, as well as Airbus, Rolls-Royce and Vertical Aviation, who we've already met in this podcast. Other companies with bases around here include, Boeing, GKN Aerospace, BAE Systems and Leonardo too. They work on everything from wings to satellites to communication systems. The whole area around Filton is like a giant humming beehive of engineering genius. And I've been there for this show to chat to some geniuses who make planes that take you through the sky. So, next time someone ever said, "What's Bristol ever done?" well, you can say, "Oh, nothing much, just built the world's fastest passenger plane, thousands of other aircraft, rockets, satellites, space probes, luxury cars, race cars, helicopters, jet engine, and also the future." So let's find out more about the city, the museum, and Concorde with Ollie from Aerospace Bristol.
Straight gang, this is Liner 210. We have 3 minutes at...
Get your test tubes filled. Grab your lab coat. Get ready to make some noise. And welcome to the stage, Dan, with Fun Kids Science Weekly live!
Hey, Little Stoke! Hello! How are we, Little Stoke Primary? Thank you so much for coming out. My name's Dan. I present a podcast. It's called Fun Kids Science Weekly. And every week, we search the solar system for some real science secrets. We learn about deadly beasts. We have experiments. We chat to geniuses. Over the last month, we've had some special episodes learning about what it takes to work with planes when you're a little bit older, how you can reach for the sky. And you've come here to Aerospace Bristol today, which is filled with so many amazing planes, and we're going to learn more about them now. Would you please give a little round of applause, a little clap to Ollie for Aerospace Bristol. Coming out, Ollie. Now, if you have any questions while we chat to Ollie, put your hand in the air and we'll see if we can get to a few of them, okay? Ollie, this is amazing, Aerospace Bristol. Tell us everything that we've got here today. Why is this place so special?
Wow, everything. That's a lot. So this place is special because we celebrate Bristol specifically, Bristol's involvement in planes and space and rockets and lorries and cars. So there's lots and lots of history here at the museum which we celebrate, and the history's still happening because the industry is still here. So Rolls-Royce, Airbus, you'll be hearing from some people in the industry later explaining that you can still very much get involved with aeroplanes, be it old ones or brand new ones.
You saw the amazing Concorde, didn't you, outside? What a brilliant plane. Ollie, just tell us all about that special craft.
So Concorde out there is a half British and half French aeroplane. I heard you talking about it earlier. It flew really fast, so it could get you to New York. The fastest it ever did it was in under 3 hours, which was the record-breaking, and that's still held today. So Concorde out there was a supersonic, meaning it faster than the speed of sound. It flew faster than the Earth rotates in space. And that was built, that one out there, and 9 others were built here in Bristol. And the first one took off from the runway, and that's the last one ever to fly, and it landed here. And it carried up to 100 passengers in luxury, really fast, with really good food as well.
Does anyone have any questions just about aeroplanes and what's going on here today? Hands nice and high for me. Yes, what's your name?
My name's Vinny, and how many miles per hour did it go per minute?
How many miles an hour did Concorde go per minute, Ollie?
So Concorde flew at 1,350 miles an hour, roughly. It depended on the thickness of the air. So we use Mach numbers, which are easier to measure. So it flew at Mach 2.02, meaning over twice the speed of sound.
But if you're flying faster than the speed of sound, can we still talk to each other? Would we have been able to chat up in Concorde?
That's a good question, because surely sound's leaving you behind because you're flying really fast, but the air inside was nice and still. It was very quiet. You could balance a coin on your food tray and it wouldn't even wobble. So it was just like it was probably more comfortable than being in a car on modern bumpy roads in Bristol. So yeah, you could still talk to each other very easily, but outside the plane, you would hear sonic booms on the ground if it flew overhead at supersonic speed. So that's when the sound cracks like a lightning thunderbolt. When you hear the rumble of thunder, that's a sonic boom, or the whip, the crack of a whip, you might see in sort of cowboy films, that's a sonic boom on the tip of the tail. Some dinosaurs apparently also had sonic booms on their tails, the ones really like Diplodocus.
Wow, imagine a dinosaur that could crack its tail faster than you could hear it. Has anyone else got another quick question? Yes?
How heavy was the Concorde?
Brilliant. Do we know how heavy it was? It looks enormous.
That's a great question, and I'm afraid I don't know the answer. I don't know everything. No one knows everything. And it would depend on where is it flying, how much fuel is in it, how many people are on it, how hot is it. So it would depend on lots of factors. But I'm afraid more than one elephant, I'll give you that.
So we know all about Concorde and some of the brilliant things that we can do here. What else is going on for the rest of the year that maybe we might like to come and see?
So I mentioned earlier all the other things that are here in the museum. I'm sure some of you have visited the museum before. So for example, we have a Bristol lorry. Well, we've got Bristol buses. There isn't one in the museum now, but in October, we've got Bristol buses coming, and you can go on a vintage double-decker bus and go on a ride around bits of Bristol. Over half-term, we're celebrating space because Bristol was really involved with space, so you can come and take part in that. We've even got a jet car coming, so it's a racing car powered by a Bristol jet engine, and that's going to be here over October half-term as well, and that's called the Vampire jet car. If anyone has ever watched old Top Gears, you might have seen it on there. Richard Hammond, the hamster, had a bit of an accident in it.
Ollie, thank you. Let's get one more question for Ollie, all about maybe Concorde or what's happening around us today. What's your name?
Theo.
Theo, nice and loud.
How many litres of fuel was there in Concorde?
Brilliant. Do we know how many litres of fuel?
Another great question. Thousands of litres. It had 13 fuel tanks. So basically, apart from the bit you're sitting in and where the pilots are sitting at the front, it was all fuel tanks and jet engines. It needed lots and lots of fuel to get across the Atlantic. It was very, very thirsty flying at that super speed because you're pushing into the air, which gets really, really hot. but I don't have an exact number.
That's all right, but listen, it's been amazing, isn't it, to hear from Ollie all about this brilliant museum and about that fantastic Concorde outside. Ollie, thank you so much. Will we give Ollie a round of applause?
What about some of the companies who work in Bristol and help design planes of the future there? Well, I caught up with Isabella, who works at Airbus, and she helped me figure out exactly how planes can stay in the sky. It's smart stuff.
So I've got loads of questions for Isabella that I asked listeners to the show, and they're as old as you, and we're going to see how many come up front, Isabella. We're going to see what we can do. Is it true that parts of a plane are glued together? How does it work? How is a plane fit together?
I can see where you may come from this question, but no, we do not glue our parts together. This will be a little bit dangerous. Yes, they are fastened together. So we have screws, we have bolts. They have to be very secure in order to be able to fly that high with that many forces, and also so fast. So no, they're not glued together.
Well, let's talk about planes. So do you remember what I said earlier? 16,000 planes in the sky all the time. Have you ever wondered how they stay in the air, how they actually fly? Isabella, how does a plane stay in the air?
So we have different ways. The main one is, planes have wings, right? Birds have wings. Everyone knows that. So the main reason why the planes stay in the air is because those wings, they generate a force, which we call lift. And as you may know, we have weight, which is what keeps you here on Earth. It's called gravity as well. And then you have the opposite force, which is lift. So when the plane starts to fly, when you're taking off the runway, you're going by so fast that the air that's going around those wings are generating that force, and that's what makes the plane take off. That's why it only takes off after you reach certain speeds. So that's what is responsible for maintaining the plane in the air while you're flying, and also make sure that it will land off controlled.
Does anyone have a question about how planes may fly in the sky above us? Put your hand nice and high for us. Yeah, shout it out for me.
When they take off the speed, are they faster than a cheetah?
Are planes, when they take off, when they're racing down the runway, are they faster than a cheetah?
I don't know how fast cheetahs go, but I'll tell you, probably yes, they are faster than the cheetahs. They are faster than your car, then you're faster than trucks, they're faster than boats. So yes, I would guess they will be faster than animals on Earth as well.
Does everyone use, do you know AI? Do you use AI? Do you know robots? Maybe you've got a smart speaker at home. Well, robots do so much for us, don't they? They can drive your cars now. In the future, Isabella, do we think that robots might actually fly planes? That would be awesome.
I'll tell you what, they kind of already do. This is what we call autopilot. So robots are nothing more than computers, and you can have many types of robots. So in theory, yes, robots already fly the plane. They're not in total control of the plane. That's why we have pilots, and they're very well trained. But yeah, they really help and assist the pilots especially in those 20-hour-long flights. They really are handy, and we make a really good job in keeping up with them and also developing them so we can make planes and flights much safer.
Let's thank Isabella from Airbus so much for coming and helping us out, Isabella. Thank you very much.
Also in Bristol, I chatted to Alana, who's a manufacturing engineer at Airbus, and she told us all about how careers in aviation can help you reach for the sky.
There's so many things that you could do when you're older around planes, maybe building them, maybe designing them, and we're going to find out all about that with an actual engineer from Airbus. So if you've got any questions, get thinking, and welcome Alana to the stage. This is Alana from Airbus. Engineer is a big word, Alana. Tell us what you do.
What do I do? That's a great question. I solve problems at my work, so that means if there's something wrong with the plane, if there's something that we need to fix about our manufacturing, so that's when we make the plane, people will send the questions to me and my team, and we have a look at it. And it can be anything like, maybe we bought the wrong color paint. Maybe we put the wrong bolt into the wrong piece of the plane. Things like that we need to fix, and we need to make it better. And that's what an engineer does.
It sounds like such an amazing job, doesn't it? Working and building planes. What's the coolest thing that you've done in aviation?
Ooh, I think for me, the coolest thing that I've done is to be able to watch the Beluga take off. So we've got a plane at Airbus called the Beluga, and it's a really, really big plane. It's shaped like a whale, yes.
So, yeah, a beluga is a big whale from under the ocean, so this is a plane just like that?
Exactly, yeah. So we made a plane called the Beluga, and it's a really big plane. It's bigger than all of the planes that you might have ever seen, because we put our actual engine and wing parts into the Beluga so we can fly them to assemble them together. And I got to see that plane taking off, which was so cool.
Now, planes, if you've been in one, there's so much. They travel really fast. We can watch films in them now. What would you put in a plane in 100 years? What does a plane of the future look like?
Ooh, I think there's lots of different ways to answer this question, but I think for me it's got to be a fun way. So I would really love to see a plane with a cinema in it. So you could get up and walk and watch a movie, but with lots of people together. But we'll have to see if that would be a safe thing to do first.
Whoa, an actual cinema on a plane. I know that we're thinking about the world and taking care of it, aren't we? And planes, they use up a lot of fuel, which can be bad for our planet. What are we doing about making planes greener and more eco-friendly?
So there are lots of different ways to make planes more green and eco-friendly. A lot of them, they're really early on in the development right now. So we have some ideas, and we want as many ideas from everyone like you guys as we can get about what we can do to make the plane better. You might think about putting solar panels on a plane, anything like that. We might not do it now, but it could work. But the main one that they're doing right now is they're using something called sustainable aviation fuel. And that's got a portion of sometimes biofuels. So they're fuels made from waste material. And that gets put in with the regular aviation fuel to make it slightly more sustainable.
Now, you've worked with planes for a little while. What's the most amazing facts that you've learned about aeroplanes or the sky above us?
Oh, so many facts, so many facts. What's the best one? I think for me, it's just amazing to know that planes can take off. I'm sure you've looked at them before and thought, whoa, that's a big chunk of metal and it's just somehow in the sky. But Isabella has told you before about the forces that are there. And those kind of forces are what mean that we can put all of these people in the sky to connect them to their friends and family and different places to work.
Speaking of work, I know that this is years and years away, but maybe you might want to work with planes one day. What's the best thing about working with planes all the time?
Oh, for me, I think it's the impact that you can have. So this is an industry that is always going to be around. We're keeping to make it better and more sustainable, like you said before. And it always needs new ideas. So you guys could all be our next future engineers or our next future Airbus, any other thing.
Hands in the air. Who's ever dreamed about actually flying a plane? Oh, it would be so awesome, wouldn't it? When there's so many things that you could do to try and make that happen, and we're really, really thankful that Alana's come over and helped us out with some of it. Should we give Alana a big round of applause? Thank you, Alana. Cheers.
Thank you, Alana and Isabella. It's been a blast here at Aerospace Bristol, where we've had the opportunity to see Concorde for ourselves and learn so much about how important this city has been in getting planes flying around the world. And with all that, it's time for us to head to departures. I hope you can join us again soon. Fun Kids Science Weekly Reach for the Sky special, created with support from a CAA Reach for the Sky Challenge grant. Find out more at funkidslive.com.